Welcome, everyone, to your new moon in Scorpio horoscopes and Tarotscopes for your new moon in Scorpio on Monday, November 13th, 2023. I'm going to talk all about this new moon in Scorpio and how you can make the most of it. So thank you for joining me either live or if you are catching the replay. So let's talk about this new moon. It's on the 13th of November, which is Monday. And it will be at 20 degrees. So you want to see where 20 degrees of Scorpio falls in your astrological chart. You can run your chart and find 20 degrees. If you know, that's really helpful. That's where there's a new beginning for you. But for all of us under this transit, themes of rebirth, healing, and letting go are paramount. Scorpio is all about releasing energy for empowerment. It's about transforming energy. And it's also about boundaries. If you think of Scorpio, you think of life and death, and that's the ultimate boundary. And in life, we can get stronger and more empowered with our boundaries. Those that we set when we say no, and those boundaries that we dissolve when we merge, right? Because Scorpio also has to do with intimacy. So it's all about boundaries. And a big thing that you want to think about over the next few weeks is what part of your life needs to transform. Scorpio is very transformative. So wherever you have 20 degrees of Scorpio in your chart, that life area is going to transform. Hey, Bot, nice to see you. Happy pre-new moon in Scorpio. So just think about that. Even outside of where 20 degrees of Scorpio falls in your chart, just think about what is heavy or what's not fun anymore, what needs to go bye-bye or at least evolve and change. The Scorpio new moon on November 13th is a clearing of the slate. It's a chance to plant seeds of intention because that's what new moons are for. The new moons are all about setting intentions, planting seeds, fostering, nurturing those seeds, and then they will grow up until your full moon. And it's not a matter of everything that you want to manifest or all of your intentions are going to necessarily manifest after those 2 weeks, but you should see some progress. With the new moon, you're going to see the full manifestation of your intentions, ideally 6 months after. So we're looking toward spring. Hey, Lucy Lou, nice to see you. So Scorpio energy urges us to shed what no longer serves us, to make space for renewal of purpose. So it's a time of letting go and releasing energy so you're stronger. Aspects and implications. So this new moon is a bit intense. Mars is aligned with the new moon. So it's very, very close. Mars is in Scorpio, very close to the new moon. And that's going to bring us more courage, motivation, and initiative for transformation. Now, Uranus in Taurus is opposing this new moon. And that could bring shocking events meant to shake up stale routines. Now, remember, we're just getting out of eclipse season. We had our solar eclipse in Libra, our full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus. So things may have already shifted. So even though this new moon in Scorpio on Monday, November 13th is pretty volatile. I mean, the moon is tied up with Mars and it's also opposing Uranus. So there are changes for sure, but you may have felt those changes previously since we've had those eclipses. In any case, it's a strong energy that we're going to be playing with on the 13th, and that energy is going to be relevant for 2 weeks after November 13th. So you want to channel that energy to bravely walk your authentic path and to shed limiting beliefs. So it's all about getting closer to your core and who you really are, or who you want to be, which Nietzsche says is who you really are, right? So it's all about releasing the dead weight and the loose links, the weakest links. If everything's all fine and you've already made your changes Well, you want to use this Scorpio energy to efficiently smooth out your routines, tie up loose ends, because after eclipse season, things have shifted, right? So with this new moon, you can really tap into streamlining your processes. Scorpio loves their routine, so it's probably a good idea, if things are nice and stabilized for you, to develop some keystone habits that are relevant to what you want to manifest over the next 6 months. You want to be efficient. Scorpio is very, very efficient. So you want to really tap into that energy. Tips and tricks for your new moon in Scorpio. This is an ideal time to release anything that has gone on long enough. So it's good for releasing addictions. It's good for releasing anything, any unhealthy attachments, even limiting beliefs. It's a good time for that. It's a good time to dive into healing and also creating rituals. So keep that in mind. Routines, Scorpios love their routines. Because this new moon is so volatile, like we said, the moon is right next to Mars and it's opposing Uranus. You want to stay centered before acting. You want to stay centered. So you never want to ideally do anything when you're not feeling good or if you're angry. Very rarely does doing something when you're in a bad space result in something positive. So you want to make sure you're in a good space before you take action always, but particularly under this new moon's influence. And you want to find power and vulnerability. Scorpio often reminds me of Ophelia in Hamlet. There's a strength in that vulnerability. So you want to find that strength in your vulnerability. Remember, even though Scorpio is very fierce, it is a feminine water sign. So there's a lot of vulnerability there, which really is the reason why Scorpios are so fierce. Think of it, if you broke your arm, right, and your arm is really sensitive, and somebody grabs your arm, you're going to be very, very quick to like back off, right, to set a boundary. And Scorpios like that because they're so sensitive, because they're naturally so vulnerable. So tap into your vulnerability for sure, and don't see it as a weakness. This is a great time to connect with supportive communities, to renew your spiritual practices, and to speak positively. Scorpio is a water sign, and water gets everywhere. If you ever had a flood, water goes everywhere. So when you're speaking positively under this emotional influence of the new moon, that water can get everywhere, especially in your subconscious. And in life, we get not always what we want, but what we subconsciously believe we are. So whatever we're a vibrational match to. So you always want to speak positively, but particularly under this new moon and Scorpio influence. This lunar cycle offers a chance to shed the past and courageously move toward rebirth. So feel the fear and do it anyway. Scorpios are incredibly courageous, intelligent, and determined. And they're very strategic. And with Mars in Scorpio, this new moon, it's a good idea to think of the long term. Scorpios are very, very good at looking at the big picture, determining where they need to go and what they need to do and how to get there. New moon details. So the area of your life affected this new moon is going to be determined by where 20 degrees of Scorpio falls in your astrology chart. Now, if you have a planet or point, so especially a sun, moon, rising, midheaven, etc., between 16 degrees and 24 degrees, especially in Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, or Aquarius, you're going to be affected by this new moon because it's going to activate. Whenever you have a planet at an angle, if one angle is hit, all are, right? Or at least another one is. So if you have anything within the 4 degrees on either side of that 20 degrees of Scorpio, then you're going to get hit by this new moon, and that's going to activate a new beginning. And the tighter the orb, the more significant the effect, i.e., if your planet or point is at 24, right on, 20 degrees, right on the nose of this new moon, then you're going to be affected. And if it's, say, 15, 16, well, it'll still affect you, but not as much as if it were, 20 degrees, 21 degrees, 19 degrees. So you want to set the stage. No matter where 20 degrees of Scorpio falls in your chart, you want to tap into this Scorpio energy, which is very, very powerful and very, very healing. So some questions that you may want to ask yourself to make the most of this time. What aspects of my life are ready for a transformation? What is heavy? What doesn't feel good? And how can you initiate this change? In which areas do you crave deeper connections? Scorpios are all about empowerment through sharing of resources. Scorpio is often linked with sex. And when you have sex with somebody, you're bringing your energies together. And in fact, after you have sex, your auras are intermingled. And if you're, to a lesser extent, whenever you're even conversing with anyone, your auras are intermingled, right? And that's why focusing on things that you like, things that feel good, things that you love especially is good. Because if you're focusing on what you love, you're merging with what you love, and then you have more energy, you have more love. So connect deeply, especially if there's some relationships that you feel would make your life feel better and more perfect. And ask yourself how you can foster intimacy in your relationships. Obviously, sexually with your partner, but also emotionally with perhaps your partner or your friends, etc. How can you foster that intimacy? And it's probably going to be easiest for you to connect deeply and intimately with yourself emotionally to understand how you really feel about things if that's not something that you're good at. Scorpios are pretty keen on exactly how they feel about everything. But if you are unsure, this is a great time for some soul searching. What hidden truths am I ready to confront? And how can they lead to your growth? So Scorpio is all about what lies beneath the surface. It's about the hidden, the secrets, the underbelly. And it's important for us to love both of our light and our dark sides, right? You can't have darkness without the light, and light is only as bright as the darkness it sits beside. So definitely love yourself unconditionally, all of yourself, and that might mean forgiving yourself or healing yourself. Are there emotional wounds you're ready to heal? And what steps can you take to begin this healing process? Scorpio is very much linked to emotional trauma. So wherever you have Scorpio in your chart is where you may have experienced trauma. Likewise, it may be where you obsess, right? Same thing with Pluto. Wherever you have Pluto in your chart, it's probably a place where you obsess a lot. But how can you heal your past to create a new story, right? Because if you're brought up in a context in which the dynamics are not conducive to you living your best life, you have to essentially brainwash yourself outside of that context to expect and experience a new context. So it's about healing. What do you need to heal? How do you manage power and control in your life? Are there any imbalances that need addressing, right? So keep that in mind as well. And most important, what am I holding on to that I need to release? How can letting go serve your higher purpose? Because, of course, after Scorpio, we have Sagittarius, which is the archer, and it's all about aspiration. So you want to make sure you're feeling light. You got no nonsense around you, nothing heavy weighing you down. So then you can be aspirational. So then you can shoot far and wide like Sagittarius. So keep that in mind as well. Again, the Scorpio new moon is at 20 degrees. Its themes for all of us include rebirth, healing, and letting go. It's a good idea for all of us to ask ourselves, what part of my life needs to transform? What do I need to change? And what we're going to do now is Tarotscopes, general Tarotscopes. You can listen to your sign and your rising sign to get some wisdom for this new moon. And first, of course, will be Aries. So Aries, this new moon in Scorpio is hitting your 8th house of rebirth, transformation. It pertains to other people's resources. It pertains to intimacy. And of course, letting go. So it's a time of renewal and release, intimacy with yourself and other people, and boundaries. Scorpio is all about boundaries. The ones that you set, i.e., no, stop, I'm not doing this anymore, I quit, versus the ones you dissolve. Opening up, merging, becoming one, right? Intermingling energies, including financial resources, because Scorpio also rules joint enterprises. So keep that in mind. It's all about your boundaries. If you set a boundary, the point of that boundary is to make you stronger or to feel more secure. Likewise, if you dissolve a boundary and get closer with someone or more intimate with someone, that can also make you stronger. So determine where you need to set or dissolve your boundaries for more empowerment. Hey, Magpie, nice to see you. So it's time, Aries, for you to become a more authentic version of yourself. So it's Aries V.2. You could look at it that way. And over the next 2 weeks, you want to release your burdens, anything heavy, and empower yourself. Find out what's going to make you stronger. And let's see what wisdom from the tarot you get, Aries, for your new moon in Scorpio. Just a general piece of wisdom for Aries for this new moon. Wisdom for Aries. Wisdom for Aries. Wisdom for Aries. Knight of Swords. So the Knight of Swords, well, let's just say the Knight of Swords comes up when there are changes that occur that require fast and competent reactions. So Aries, you may be very busy during this transit, and it will be important for you to get really, really focused. The Knight of Swords, as advice, is about goal-oriented activity. And if you want to essentially feel as if all of you is directed toward your aim. And that's not a problem for Aries, because Aries is very much about single-minded focus. But the advice is to really look at your goals and go after them fiercely, right? And also be poised for changes, because the Knight of Swords does speak about changes. I would say negatively with the Knight of Swords, it's a bit of a cool energy. It's very, very intellectual. So relationships might be more so on the intellectual realm during this period. Maybe it's about conversations as opposed to it being lovey-dovey. But that's okay. Maybe you need this Knight of Swords energy to clear the decks and to get really, really logical about what it is that you want and how you can get it. So happy new moon in Scorpio, Aries. Taurus. So Taurus, this new moon in Scorpio, of course, is hitting your 7th house of partnerships, because the opposite sign of yours, Taurus, is Scorpio. So it's a 7th house transit. This is about all your one-on-one relationships, long-term one-on-one relationships, your partner, your spouse, your significant other, of course, but also your best friend forever, or even your consultants. And if you are in the public eye, your audience. So it's about the other in your life. It also could be about contracts and negotiations. The 7th house is aligned with law to a certain extent and legalities. So this might be a time in which you create a new contract with someone. And it's also a great time for you to cultivate connections. There might be some new friends, some new consultants, some new people in your life that actually might stand the test of time. So it's a new beginning for you in terms of partnerships, Taurus. If you're looking for better relationships or to improve your relationship, this is a really great time to do so. Focus on what you want in your partner. In the beginning of a relationship, everything seems to be going really well because what we're doing is we're looking at the person. We're like, this is so exciting. And what you're doing is you're looking for things to like. And then they do something that upsets us, right? So then we get guarded and we're like, what else is there? What else is it about this person? And then we solicit that. So like what you look for, you're going to find. So use this time, Taurus, to look for what it is that you want to see, and you'll solicit that from your partner. So keep that in mind. What agreements, tacit or otherwise, are going to make your life more harmonious, Taurus? What conversations do you need to have? What deals do you need to make? Perhaps even with yourself. Maybe you're going to make a deal with yourself. Like, okay, well, no more Japanese food every Tuesday because you don't like the salt. Or maybe you're going to say, okay, I need to make a rule. I really care about this aspect of my life. I'm going to prioritize it, etc. You might, again, want to look at what relationships are going to make your life easier and how you can change the relationships you're in to make them stronger. The most important thing to do, Taurus, is to smooth out your relationship story over the next 2 weeks. So we all have these ideas of what happens in relationships based upon our past experiences. So if I've been betrayed and that's just my context, that's my history, it's also my identity. So if I want to be in a relationship and not get betrayed, I have to heal past betrayals and create a new story of my relationships, how my relationships are healthy and feel amazing and very, very beneficial and successful for both of us. So think about your new relationship story, right? Because Scorpio is very much about the stuff that we don't see. It can even be linked to the subconscious. So what do you need to release and heal in order for you to have a new relationship story that makes you really, really happy? So let's see, Taurus, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your new moon in Scorpio. Wisdom for Taurus, wisdom for Taurus, wisdom for Taurus. So funny. You get Knight of Swords too. So Aries got this card as well. Very interesting. And I do think it makes sense with Mars being aligned with this new moon and it being opposing Uranus. So it's a volatile energy. And the Knight of Swords essentially suggests changes that require fast and competent reactions. And in terms of advice, well, this guy is the epitome of goal-oriented activity. So 2 things. I would definitely pad your schedule with some extra wiggle room because this would suggest there's going to be some changes that you're going to need to really react to. I would also say that in terms of your transit that you're going through, a 7th house transit, the Knight of Swords is not great for emotional relationships. The Knight of Swords is really good if you have a project and it's a mess and we need to get this organized and everybody needs to do their thing in order to make the project successful. So it's goal-oriented activity. It's highly intellectual. So maybe you need that in your relationship, Taurus. Maybe you need a time to just call it out and be like, this has been happening. I don't like it. I need this to change, right? It could be a new agreement that you come upon. But the big thing is to get very, very focused. And I also would say with Knight of Swords coming up for you too, because there's so much volatility with this Scorpio new moon, it's right next to Mars, it's opposing Uranus, you need to have something that is bigger than yourself to attack, right? Mars is about war. It's really close to the new moon. It's opposing Uranus. So there's this theme of self-assertion. And if you don't have a goal in place, like if you don't have something to attack, you might be causing trouble. You might create problems where there are none. So it's better for you to create a big, big, big goal for yourself that you've had in mind and go after that and just chip away at that, as opposed to dealing with this very volatile energy and then blowing a gasket on somebody who doesn't deserve it or on something that's impractical. So keep that in mind. Get your goals in order. Lucy Lou, you feel like A shaken snow globe? That's not a good thing? Well, I'm sorry to hear that. And magpie, you feel like a Jenga tower that toppled over and is rebuilding more solidly. Now that is very, very scorpionic. I love that image, that metaphor. Thank you for that. Gemini. So Gemini, the new moon in Scorpio is hitting your 6th house. So the 6th house is your day-to-day regime. What you do day in, day out. Your routine. So waking up and brushing your teeth, going to the gym, checking email. So it's important for you to look at that and what's going to make your life easier. A lot of people, when they wake up in the morning, they grab their smartphone, which I think is the stupidest thing to do, because your moments upon waking are extremely important, and you could give a message that doesn't agree with you, or, when you're dealing with your phone, oftentimes you're dealing with other people's agenda, and you're probably going to be dealing with that throughout the rest of your day. So it's probably a good idea to keep your phone away, for instance, until you have a moment to really choose your vibration. Another thing to do before your feet hit the ground is to think of 3 things that you're grateful for. Then you're starting your day on the right foot, literally, right? This is a really great time to also assess and prioritize your self-care. How do you feel? Do you need more sleep? Is there anything you've been eating that's not agreeing with you? Do you need to have more fun? Do you need to go out more and socialize? What is going to make you happy? And also, it is a new moon in Scorpio, so this could be an opportunity for a new job, Gemini, if you are looking for one. It also could be a new time for you in regard to fitness, health. Maybe you'll start a new diet, or maybe you'll start a new workout regime, but it's about making your lifestyle amazing as possible, and setting it up so each and every day you're getting stronger and stronger and stronger every day, right? So in order for you to do that, it's not just about going to the gym. It's not just about eating the right things. It's not just about getting your work done, but it might also involve seeing friends, connecting with your family, having great sex. You got to find out for you the right combination of things that are going to make your life great. What's going to make you well and happy. So over the next 2 weeks, refine your habits. Maybe it's a matter of you let go of some habits and you implement some new ones. And think about what's going to make your day-to-day life amazing. It might be a new job, right? It might be a new regime. It might be a new route on your way to work, stuff like that. Or a new habit. Maybe it's as simple as writing a gratitude list is a very, very practical thing to do, because when you're writing a gratitude list, you're essentially asserting yourself as somebody who has received. And then via law of attraction, you're going to receive more because you're focused on having already received. That's your identity. So let's see, Gemini, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your new moon in Scorpio. Wisdom for Gemini. Wisdom for Gemini. Wisdom for Gemini. Ten of Cups. Well, this is a wonderful card. This is the happily ever after card. It's a 10, which is the closing and fulfillment and completion of a cycle, because the cross sum of 10 is 1. So you're completing a cycle, an emotional cycle, but you're also starting a new one. So with this, the 10 of Cups, the question would be, what new things emotionally are you starting? It could be about starting a family or really connecting with your family. But you need, with the 10 of Cups, this spirit of joy and fulfillment to be part of your everyday life, because you're going through a 6th house transit. So how can your everyday lifestyle be like this? How can it incorporate 10 of Cups, i.e., happily ever after? How can you have those happy moments in your day-to-day life, right? Something to look forward to. You should always have something to look forward to. So keep that in mind. And happy new moon. Cancer. So this is a nice transit for you, Cancer. It's about pleasure. This is the 5th house. So the 5th house is really about things that you really, really love. Things that put a smile on your face, that light you up. J.D. Salinger, I think, was the one who said, get your lights on. People need to be lit up, right? Because that is light, that's excitement, that's our contribution, that makes us healthy and have vitality, etc. So there's a lot of reasons why you want to find what lights you up and then do it regularly, right? You want to make joy a part of your life. And that's the point of this transit for you, Cancer. How can you make your life more joyful? In addition to things that you really love, the 5th house pertains to your creations, including your kids, if you have children. Otherwise, it could be your artistic creations, books, things that you paint, anything that you create. And also true love and romance. Now, this is the funny thing about astrology. The 5th house is not the house of partnership. That's the 7th house. The 5th house is true love, though. So you could fall in love with someone, and unfortunately, they might make a lousy partner. Again, 5th house, 7th house. You might find somebody who is a really, really great date, and you love going to the movies with this person and going to carnivals and fairs and on vacations. Everything is just so fun, but they're not really great as a long-term romantic partner. Such is life, right? But the 5th house can sometimes bring you people who do both. So ideally, of course, you're probably going to find somebody that you love doing things with, somebody that is just really fun to be around, that you really enjoy going on dates with, who also makes a suitable partner, but that's not guaranteed. So it is about true love. It is about romance, much more than marriage. Again, marriage is the 7th house, but you always want to aim for both, right? So in terms of relationships, I would really look at this time, Cancer, as dating, as having fun, being a teenager, essentially. You don't want to focus on commitment, putting a ring on it, etc. You want to just have fun. So find out what lights you up and play. That's a big aspect of the 5th house. How can you have fun? How can you play? And you want to embrace new avenues of creativity and love. So new things that you love, new things that you like to do, new ways of expressing yourself over the next 2 weeks. So let's see, Cancer, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your new moon in Scorpio. Wisdom for Cancer, the new moon in Scorpio. Wisdom for Cancer, new moon in Scorpio. Wisdom for Cancer, new moon in Scorpio. 2 of Wands. This is a nice card. So the 2 of Wands is like the minor arcana equivalent of the Magician. It's about tapping in to the power of the universe and making that power personal. And typically with the 2 of Wands, you have success in more than one area, at least 2 areas. So this card is about you tapping into your personal power, right? In terms of relationships, the 2 of Wands is a very yang kinetic force, and it's like a little bit of a tug of war. So partnership problems could be on the horizon for you this new moon. I would say what you want to do is, again, lead with love. You can pretty much say whatever it is that you want if you're saying it with love, right? So with 2 of Wands, watch out for partnership problems, one-upsmanship, being petty, etc. Again, if you take the high road, you're going to avoid any arguments, most likely. But also, think about what you want to do. How do you want to make some big shifts? The 2 of Wands is really a card about making a debut, taking the world in your hands. He's holding a globe in his hands, right? So it's about really looking at the world and being like, I want this, and then using your personal power to achieve it. And like I said, you could have success in more than one area this new moon. So think of what 2 areas you want to really excel in and really give it the works, right? That should be really good for you. Oh, you're painting? I'm really glad to hear that, not the expert. It's really great. So Leo, this is an angular transit for you. That's kind of a big deal. It's hitting your 4th house of emotional security. A lot of people call this house the house of home and family. But really, we take our home around with us wherever we go, right? Emotionally. So you're not going to have an emotionally secure person who can't travel and feel at home, right? Because we take our house, our home around with us. So home and family and domesticity are going to be themes. This is a great new moon, Leo, for you to really nest and rest, get comfortable and cozy, and feel emotionally secure, no matter who that's with. It could be with your family. It could be with your friends. It could be with your significant other. It could be alone. Whatever it is that's going to make you feel really nurtured. The big thing with a 4th house transit, Leo, is about you tapping into the divine mother and nurturing yourself and mothering yourself in only the way you know how to. So you know what you need in order to feel nourished and nurtured and cared for. So you need to really tap into that energy this lunation and really cherish your sanctuary. You know, this is a really great time to go on a bed and bath binge, right? Bed, Bath and Beyond, you know, with pillows, new pillows or comforters or anything that makes you feel more at home and all cozy. It's also, of course, a really good time to nurture your bonds. Those people that you really, really love and cherish and care for. Sometimes we get so busy that we don't make the time to make that phone call to somebody that you really do care about. So this is a great time for you to connect with others on an emotional level. But the most important thing is that you're connecting with yourself on a deep emotional level, that you're nurturing the self, that you're feeling at home within the self, you're feeling peace within the self. So you want to make inner peace your number one goal this transit. You want to be very, very careful with yourself. It is on an angle. It is a very sensitive transit for you. So you certainly don't want to put yourself in a situation that is combative, if you can help it, or contentious. You want to do whatever it is that you can to feel nurtured, loved, and secure. So invest in your home and family ties, whatever that means for you, over the next 2 weeks. And let's see, Leo, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your new moon in Scorpio. Wisdom for Leo. Wisdom for Leo. Wisdom for Leo. So perfect. 4 of Swords. So the 4 of Swords, this is the timeout card. This is the put away the phone, you know, no distractions, do what you can to have this level of peace. You notice here, he looks like he's dead, right? He's not dead. It's a matter of he is enjoying a well-deserved rest. It's like meditating. Another person, another resource will call this card the mind watching itself. So just picture that for a second. If the mind is watching itself, you're just focusing on your mind. Your mind's not going in all these different directions. Otherwise, this card is really about doing what you can to, again, put your phone away. Don't go places if you feel as if you could use some rest. Usually 4 of Swords is, it's telling us that we need to calm down and slow it down and take it down a few notches and get extra sleep and not do anything that's going to wear us out. So I would just say, do what you can to nest and rest. don't feel like you have to make any decisions. I would also say with the Four of Swords, it's about finessing things. Like if you do have to communicate with people, you really got to bring on that finesse and be very, very careful because it's a very triggering transit. I mean, Scorpio alone is very, very triggering, let alone next to Mars and opposing Uranus. So you might want to be quiet, or if you have to communicate about things, do so with finesse, with diplomacy and tact. But I think the most important thing is get your rest. When Four of Swords comes up, it needs to be taken seriously. So get as much rest as possible over the next 2 weeks. Virgo is next. Very good. Very good. It is next. I like the Virgos. Of course, I like Virgos. Yeah. So, Virgo, this new moon in Scorpio is hitting your third house. So, the third house is about communications. Think of it as what happened in grade school. Because the third house is connected to grade school, whereas the ninth house is connected to university, higher education. The third house is about the lower mind or lower education. So grade school, what did we learn in grade school? Well, we learned how to interact and socialize with other people, other kids when we're kids, right? And we learn language when we're young. We learn how to communicate, right? And that is what this transit for you is about. How do you interact with other people like you did when you were a kid on the playground? And how do you learn like we did when we were in grade school? And how do we use language, right? With ourselves as well as other people, how we communicate with ourselves and others. So it's definitely a time for you to connect with new people, to enjoy that social interaction, that social component of everyday life. The third house pertains to your siblings, your neighbors, the people that you see on a regular basis. A huge aspect of the third house is about seeing things for the fresh lens. And that's why communication is so important with other people, because what's happening with all of us is that we're always telepathically communicating with each other. So if you have a diverse group of friends around you, you're getting their mentality and you're getting smarter through osmosis. So it's definitely a great time to freshen your perspective. And I would say the most important thing with the third house transit is your mind and how you are seeing things. How are you couching this event? If you've taken classes with me or you're familiar with my work, I always say that all circumstances are inherently neutral, that we are the assigners of meaning. Therefore, if you assign positive meaning to an inherently neutral circumstance, you're going to derive positive results from that. Contrastingly, if you assign negative meaning to an inherently neutral circumstance, you're going to derive negativity from that. So it's a good idea to get in the habit of, oh, I got fired? Good. I got cheated on? Good. My friend backstabbed me? Good. You just need to label everything good, because you can leverage everything to your greatest advantage, especially if you believe so. If you believe that we're creating our own reality, which is evident if you follow my work, you need to take responsibility and say, okay, I created this. I must have created it for a reason. Maybe it's perfect exactly as it is. So essentially, if you can label things positive, you're going to derive positive from whatever circumstance that you're dealing with, even if it on the surface does not look positive, right? Additionally, conversations that matter might come unexpectedly. This new moon is opposing Uranus. Uranus is unpredictable. So there might be some communications you have, Virgo, that definitely change things up. But you want to focus on clear communications over the next 2 weeks and your social bonds. Who are those people you're going to hang out with? And how can you learn from them? And how can you teach them? So let's see, Virgo, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your new moon in Scorpio. New moon in Scorpio for Virgo. New moon in Scorpio for Virgo. Ah, Five of Swords. Oh boy. So the Five of Swords is not one of the best cards, right? The problem with the Five of Swords is it's about going for the win-lose result. And that's not very nice, is it? We want to live in a world of abundance in which there's enough for everyone. And me winning doesn't preclude you from winning, right? And you winning doesn't keep me from winning, right? So with the Five of Swords, there's a little bit of a sense that I'm going to win and you're going to lose. It's a bit contentious, right? And it could be a few things here. Is this a mentality? Is this a fear that you have of being defeated? And therefore, you have to go for the win-lose result? If that's it, you want to let go of any limiting beliefs or any scarcity mindset. There is enough for everyone. However, there are going to be some times in which you need to practice self-interest, right? So there's some times in which Five of Swords is important. So you want to go for the win-win result all the time. You win, I win, everybody's happy, right? But if somebody is crossing your boundaries, then you have to do this. If somebody's playing dirty, or if somebody's stepping over your boundaries when they know better, or you've told them not to, that's when you need to call upon the Five of Swords. So there are some times in which you need to be self-interested, right? And to really look out for number one. So determine this new moon. Are you paranoid? Are you not going for the win-win results when you can? Or is it a matter of during this period, you really need to watch your back because somebody is not being honest or somebody is crossing your boundaries? So determine which it is. And happy new moon. I would also say, Virgo, before we conclude with you, is don't fear defeat. Just feel the fear, do it anyway, do whatever it is that you can to mentally soothe yourself so you're not experiencing a sense of, oh, geez, I'm going to be defeated. Don't worry about being defeated. And Libra. So Libra, this new moon in Scorpio is hitting your second house, values and resources. Uranus has been in Taurus for a while, and Uranus is the planet of change, and Taurus is the sign that pertains to values. And for you, this is a second house transit, which is really about your values. What do you care about? What is your life about? What makes your life worth living? Why are you here? What do you really enjoy? What do you prioritize in your life? And an object in motion likes staying in motion, right? So sometimes we're pursuing values that are no longer relevant. So this is an opportunity for you to look at your life and reassess and say, oh, geez, well, I've been doing this a lot, but I really don't feel like it's as important to me as it used to be. And then you shift things around. Maybe all of a sudden there's a new thing that you have in your life and this is higher priority. Well, then you need to make sure that you're aligned with that and your actions are value aligned. So when you are feeding and paying attention and honoring your values, your self-worth, your self-esteem increases. But if I have a value that I am not acknowledging or honoring, my self-worth, my self-esteem is going to decrease. So for instance, if I really, really care about exercise and I don't exercise, my self-esteem is going to decrease. But also, again, if I'm going through an upgrade, maybe I exercise way too much and I'm realizing, well, I'm not a professional athlete and I don't have any professional athletic ambitions ahead. So why am I working out 6 days a week? So you want to essentially look at what you value and how your priorities can align with that. It's also a great time to realign with your self-worth, your true value, right? And really looking for those things that make you feel good about yourself. How can you pump up your sense of self-esteem and tap into your inherent sense of self-worth? With Libras in particular, because they are the sign of balance and partnership, oftentimes their self-esteem can be linked to the partners that they have in their life. And it's important to align with those people who honor your beauty, who honor your personality and your gifts and what you bring to the table. But in order for other people to honor your value and recognize and clock your value, you have to first. So utilize this time to really increase your self-esteem. It's a good idea to make a list, perhaps, every day of 5 things that you really love about yourself. That's a really good idea during this transit. And also financial opportunities. The second house does pertain to money. So if you're looking for some more cash, this is a great time to plant a seed for that. Otherwise, it's a great time to explore your talents and skills for profit and fulfillment. The second house has to do with your voice, your self-expression. There might be a talent that you have that you could explore under this transit, and it will change your life. So oftentimes we put limits on ourselves. I can't draw. I'm not an artist. Or I can't sing, or whatever. And that immediately puts us in that box in which we can't draw, and we can't sing, and we can't do this, and we can't do that. But if you want to do something, that comes with it the prerequisite built-in ability for you to achieve it. So consider how you can explore your talents and rethink what you think. If you thought before, oh, I'd love to play piano, but I don't think I could. I'd love to do this, but I don't think I could. If you'd love to do it, then do it. Explore your talents. Follow your excitements. Whatever makes you excited, because your excitement is your built-in mechanism that says, go here, do this. So you always want to follow your excitement to the best of your ability with no insistence on the outcome, right? Because that takes the magic, the play out of it. In order for you to manifest, you got to be playful and light. So align with your true worth over the next 2 weeks and financial growth. You want to see your finances improving. You don't want to be looking and expecting them to take a nosedive. You want to see them increasing and increasing and increasing. So let's see, Libra, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your new moon in Scorpio. Wisdom for Libra, wisdom for Libra, wisdom for Libra. Well, how perfect. Justice. This is your card, Libra. That's pretty cool. You get the Justice card and you're a Libra. So what does this mean? The Justice card is all about making an adjustment, right? And justice is blind. So this is a time of balance for you. What decisions do you need to make? What's out of balance that you need to balance? And how are you aligning with that version of yourself that is satisfied? The Justice card has been called the satisfied woman. So if you are, for instance, a woman and wanting certain things, be it a great relationship, really great sex, a really great well-paying job, etc., you want to really tap into that feeling of it's already done. Things have already been established. The gavel has been struck and you are satisfied, because that satisfaction is going to lead you to more satisfaction, the law of attraction. So if you're emoting satisfaction, you're only going to be more satisfied. So do whatever you can to clock that sense of satisfaction and really tap into it, because this is the satisfied woman and you want to be satisfied. So you want to be satisfied even in the process of pursuing what you want, and then you're going to get more satisfaction. And in terms of manifestation, the perfect manifestation space is satisfied and eager for more, i.e., I'm satisfied in my job right now, but I want another one. Or I'm satisfied in my relationship right now, but I want us to get along even better. Or I'm satisfied with my relationship status right now, but I wouldn't mind sharing myself with somebody else, whatever it might be. But get satisfied and balance wherever you can. Well, you get into life what you put into it, right? So if you're putting 110% into your goal, you're going to get that back. So happy new moon, Libra. And Scorpio, this is your new moon, Scorpio. That's a big deal. It's hitting your first house. So it's a transformative path. But when is Scorpio not really transforming? I mean, they're so good at going for it and letting every single moment die so a new moment can be reborn, right? So this in particular is going to be very transformative because even though Scorpio is about death, and even though it's about rebirth, and even though it's about letting go, Scorpios are a fixed sign, meaning they're stubborn, they hold on to things, and they are inherently inflexible. They love their routines, and they represent the power of fixed emotion because it's a water sign, right? So the challenge for you, Scorpio, is to become addicted to better feeling emotions. Scorpios have been through a lot, much more than most of us, and it can be emotionally traumatizing, and they're very, very, very tough as a result of the difficulties they've endured. But the thing is that when we experience trauma, we set our brains rewire itself in order for you to prepare for the next trauma. So what happens with Scorpio is that they get used to being in this state, this emotional state of, I never get what I want. I'm so sick of this happening. I'm just using this as an example. Or I always get this. I'm not satisfied here. He did it again. This person is a horrible person, or whatever. So they're emotionally connected to these old emotions. And emotion is energy in motion. So even if it's not a positive emotion, it gets us going. It propels us forward. So we have to all look at what lower emotions are we addicted to. And your transformative path is to look at the emotions that you are used to experiencing and saying, okay, well, how can I bump this up vibrationally? How can I feel better? So you want to get addicted to positive feeling emotions. But because Scorpio is a fixed sign, it's easier said than done because they represent the power of fixed emotion. So if you had an experience in which you were upset about something, then you're fixed on that energy of being upset. You want to get fixed on that energy of pleasure, of love, of sharing, of following what has heart and meaning. You want to get yourself addicted and into the vibrational realm of love, pure love. And that may require some kind of letting go. So keep that in mind. Sonia, nice to see you. I'm glad that you got to stop by. Thank you for stopping by, and happy new moon. Get your Aquarius horoscope later. Additionally, your physicality. The first house has to do with your body. So honor your body. And the first house also has to do with your perception. So we don't see things the way they are. We see things the way we are. So everything is an internal game. So, for instance, we always have those days, right, where one thing happens right and everything just falls into place. You do this happens on time, and it's like a beautiful domino effect of things going brilliantly. Well, what's the common denominator? You're feeling good and things are falling into place. Contrastingly, you ever have one of those days nothing seems to go right? And like a domino effect too, everything seems to go wrong. Nobody is behaving. Everything takes forever, etc. Again, the common denominator, we are the common denominator. So you want to make sure your inner world is feeling amazing. So then when that inner world that you're experiencing, what you're seeing is what you want to see. So you want to see what it is that you want, because the believing is really about seeing. Whatever you want to manifest, you have to see it in order to believe it in your brain. You got to look for it. Seek and ye shall find. So look for what it is that you want. So if you have new goals, this new moon, Scorpio, you have got to start looking for them. So say, for instance, you want $1 million. That's on your wish list for this Scorpio new moon. All right, well, you need to look and perceive money all around you. You want to look for, there's a $1 million house across the way. There you go, right? So you want to look for what it is that you want to see, and that is going to help you attract it. If you look for things that are negative, I promise you, you will find them. But the same thing in terms of looking for things that you want to see, those positive things. So keep in mind, this is a very transformative time for you, Scorpio. And remember, if you're not happy in your reality, then all you need to do is to change your personality. So a new personality will change a new personal reality. So consider what new personal reality you want. How do you want your life to be? And what would your personality be like if you already had it? What do you need to let go of in order to be that personality who has the preferred personal reality? So it's solar return for you, Scorpio. So happy birthday. And because of that, you want to really reflect on the year's lessons. What did you learn? How did you grow? How did you evolve? And then you want to look at the year ahead. Okay, what's next? How are you going to achieve your goals? How are you going to feel as perfect as possible? So let's look and see what wisdom you get, Scorpio, for your new moon in your sign. Wisdom for Scorpio. 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 Two of Swords. So sometimes you get a Two of Swords, the situation. Two of Swords is essentially making decisions without the interference of the emotions. In this card, we see a woman. She's blindfolded and she has two swords across her body, right? So what is she saying? She's like, I'm not dealing with this right now. I'm not. I can't do this right now. I can't with you right now is essentially the Two of Swords. And the Two of Swords, usually it's about a standoff that you have with yourself. So you love your husband, but he's driving you absolutely insane. Or you need this job, but you are absolutely dreading going to work every day. So with Two of Swords, you have two options, and both of which are not really great. So you want to, with Two of Swords, make decisions without the interference of the emotions. Don't feel like you have to make a decision right now. Just carry on business as usual. Now, Two of Swords can be a bye-bye card in relationships. This doesn't mean you're going to necessarily break up, but the Two of Swords can be about a blow-up that you had tried to avoid. So do what you can to, again, channel your energy constructively. With Mars in your sign, you're going to be most likely very quick to anger, more so than normal, right? You're going to have more of a hair trigger temper. And sometimes you don't need to go that far, right? So you don't want to react to something, overreact to something, and then have to backpedal or cause World War III. You want to, with Two of Swords, to be non-emotional if you can. This is Moon in Libra, the meaning of this card. So a little bit of detachment. This new moon would probably be great for you because, again, Mars is aligned with the new moon. It's opposing Uranus. You want to keep the peace if you can, because with the Two of Swords, the advice really is to be logical and to not feel like you have to make any decisions straight away. So keep that in mind. Might want to lie low, be lovey-dovey as much as possible to those in your life. So Sagittarius, this is a big deal. It's a 12th house transit, so it's not going to be very exciting, most likely. But a 12th house transit is very important because it is your subconscious. So we get in life what we subconsciously believe that we are. And also, what we do in life is so much of it is subconscious, right? our subconscious beliefs about ourselves, our subconscious beliefs about what we deserve, our worthiness, about what we're likely to see happen, our expectations, right? So this is a wonderful time to really look at what pictures are you painting in your head and what things are you saying to yourself, because that's what you're going to get in life. If you're painting pretty pictures of everything going your way, you're going to see that. And if you're saying nice things to yourself, well, you're going to see that also reflected. So don't give yourself the luxury of a negative thought. This is a 12th house transit, and the 12th house is the last house of the zodiac. So this is about endings and letting go. And how can you grow? How can you let the old beliefs go and establish new ones? And along with that, what needs to go bye-bye, right? What in your life are you no longer going to deal with? Are you no longer going to talk to this friend? Are you no longer going to pursue this subject? Do you really need to let go of your job and find a new job? What needs to go bye-bye? And I think the most important thing with the 12th house transit is to retrain your mind. So the subconscious does not have a sense of humor. So you want to make sure that you are saying things and thinking things that are conducive to the ideal reality that you want to experience. So retrain your mind. This is a really great time to really catch yourself with negative thoughts or things that you say to yourself, etc., and correct and just say, no, think of it this way, like giving yourself rules. Now, what's so important about the 12th house is that it creates everything. So if you, for instance, in your mind's eye, visualized and meditated on achieving, I don't know, the job of your life, a job that you would absolutely do for free, that pays you hand over fist, plenty of money. If you keep visualizing that and seeing yourself doing it, right? And then you wind up taking inspired action. I think I'm going to call this person, or, oh yeah, this is an idea. I don't know why I want to take this route to work today. I don't know why I want to look at this job site, etc. You follow your impulses, and then you're going to achieve what you want. So you want to visualize what you want as if it's already happened, and then you just follow your intuition. And then you'll manifest or get closer to manifesting what you want. So when you have new beliefs from your visualizations, affirmations, a lot of different things you can do to imprint upon your subconscious what you want to have true, then you can do anything. Likewise, a 12th house transit is going to require extra sleep. We're coming upon your season, Sagittarius. So the 12th house, it's like you got to quiet everything down and get relaxed and get comfortable, because soon you're going to be the one jumping out of the cake, right? It's your birthday coming up, and you're going to be heading for a brand new beginning. The sun will be in your sign. So for now, you need to take it down a notch. Definitely a time to rest, relax, do whatever it is that you can to foster that sense of peace of mind. You want to feel completely at peace, well rested. You might need some extra privacy. This isn't a great time to be intermingling with a lot of people. So keep that in mind. But let's see, Sagittarius, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your new moon in Scorpio. Wisdom for Sagittarius. Wisdom for Sagittarius. Wisdom for Sagittarius. Ooh, King of Pentacles. Well, this is exactly the card you want to see if you're looking to make some money, right? The King of Pentacles is all about wealth, and it's about initiating, because kings initiate, and because it's Earth, the energy associated with this card is Capricorn. So what can you initiate for great wealth? not just financially, but wealth also being in terms of stuff that you pass down, like creating a family, right? A lineage. It could also be about things you pass down, like artistic works, books, stuff like that. So you want to really think about your legacy. What do you want to leave behind? And how can you initiate your new story in regard to earth, in regard to prosperity, in regard to trust, in regard to legacy, in regard really to your contribution. Even if you're having children, right? You're contributing and you're creating these children to do things for the world. Same thing with the books that you write or the businesses that you start, etc. So consider what your contribution is and tap in to the inherent energy of wealth. And that really is very pertinent to this time because all the riches of the universe are underneath the Earth's surface. Precious minerals, gold, diamonds, it's all underneath the Earth's surface. So in light of our Scorpio new moon, we have to really dig deep, right? We have to heal and we have to really tap into the hidden or the darker aspects in order to tap into that muck, that crap, right? We got to use that energy and transmute it to achieving whatever it is that you want. So any pain or any difficulties and whatnot that you've gone through, that is rich soil. So you really want to tap into that and even to motivate you, right? Or anything that you can do to tap into anything that's underneath, right? It's a great time to definitely do something financial. I would say that you want to think long term. This is a great time to consult with a wealth manager or somebody who can help you advance your portfolio because there's definitely a lot of money associated with King of Pentacles. So you want to tap into that energy this new moon for more financial prosperity. So happy new moon, Sagittarius. Capricorn. So Capricorn, your new moon in Scorpio will be hitting your 11th house. This is a very, very fun house. So it's the house of hopes, dreams, wishes, ideals. The 11th house says, why not? Meaning that there are no dangling carrots in the universe. That if you want something, that comes with it, the prerequisite, built-in ability for you to achieve it. No dangling carrots in the universe. So if you have a hope, a wish, or a dream, well, it is realizable. So follow your dreams. The 11th house is a great transit for you to really go after those shiniest, highest apples on the tree and going for it. Go for the gold because you have a better chance of achieving it now than another time. 11th house also has to do with your networks. So it's really good for you to collaborate with other people, groups of people, to share. There's a power in numbers. And there are a lot of angels on earth. So you want to collaborate and share yourself with other people, especially communities that you feel are like-minded. That's going to be very empowering for you during this transit. And expand your network. So if you have any dreams or whatnot, well, if you don't know how to achieve them, somebody else does. And honestly, whatever you want to achieve, somebody else has probably done it. You're not reinventing the wheel. So it might be a practical idea to be around those people who have achieved their goals, right? So consider expanding your network. A dream, Capricorn, may be closer than you realize. So tap into that. I also want to say that the 11th house has to do with big lump sums of money. So the second house is like you do a job and you get paid for it. Merry Christmas. But the 11th house is a big lump sum. So if there's anything that you do professionally that could give you a lot of money in one fell swoop, definitely do it. Build it and they will come. So get your mind going and think, okay, well, what could I do that's like a big ticket item? Because this is definitely a good time for you to plant those seeds and to manifest something over the next 6 months in that regard. So you want to think big this transit and connect with friends and community over the next 2 weeks. And let's see, Capricorn, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your new moon in Scorpio. Wisdom for Capricorn. Wisdom for Capricorn. Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Wands, all the Knights are about departures, right? Departing from the familiar. So with the Knight of Wands, this is like lightning. You just got to do it. You just want to go after it. So with this card, I would suggest that you really go out on a limb and you take a chance. Visualize what it is that you want, and then like lightning, go after it. I think that this new moon for you is going to be very action oriented with the Knight of Wands. You might be very, very busy. Party, I'm there. I'm going. Oh, opportunity, networking event, boom, I'm going. Knight of Wands. So you want to be like lightning, and you want to visualize what it is that you want really quickly. And you also want to be able to take action. So-and-so is interested in this? Well, let's set up an appointment. Take action based upon your ideal vision. And also, I would say with Knight of Wands, sometimes this is about moving. Usually, it's not always about moving, but it can be because it is about departures, right? So if you are looking to move, this is a really, really great card. You might want to start the process because we do have Mercury going retrograde in December. So if you're looking to move, you might want to get the ball rolling on looking for a place now. Okay, just keep that in mind. Look, and with Knight of Wands, again, you might want to just go for it. Go out on a limb. Fortune favors the bold and brave with the Knight of Wands. So keep that in mind, Capricorn. Aquarius. So Aquarius, this new moon in Scorpio is hitting your 10th house of status. It's angular for you, so it's a big deal. The 10th house is really about how you're contributing to society, how you're helping humankind. What are you doing to make a contribution? How are you doing your part? It has to do with your long-term goals. It's like, okay, well, where do you want to be 5 years' time, 10 years' time? And what do you want to have to show for yourself, right? What do you want to achieve? And it's also a great time for professional opportunities. So I would be on the lookout for career opportunities that are pretty big. You want to make some big jumps during this period. So it's not necessarily about your job. That's a 6th house thing. It's about your career. And obviously, ideally, your job is going to be your career, but there is a distinction between the 6th house of what you do day to day, your service, your work, and the 10th house, your vocation, your purpose, your status, your career. So this transit for you is really going to be about determining what mountain you want to be at the top of. What do you want to be known for? Where are you the best? What do you do that you want recognition for? And you want to ask yourself, realistically, what can you do better than anyone else? And it's not a competition thing because nobody can do what you do the way you do what you do, right? But you're competing with yourself, and you're also competing with the aspects of yourself that are not self-expressive. Because if you're really expressing yourself, you're naturally going to maximize your creative potential. So it's not about competing. It's a matter of how can you be the best at what you do, the way you do it. And because this is an angular transit for you, and there's an opposition with Uranus in Taurus, which is also angular for you, you can expect a surprising turn in your career journey. Most likely this transit, especially if you're around that 20 degrees of Scorpio, one of your fixed signs. So set clear goals to elevate your status over the next 2 weeks. What can you do that makes you more excellent at your job? They say that the way we do anything is the way we do everything. So how can you, with the responsibilities you have right now, pump up that level of excellence, that level of value that you're providing? Because the more you can up level yourself, the more opportunities you're going to achieve. So let's see, Aquarius, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your new moon in Scorpio. Wisdom for Aquarius. Aquarius. Queen of Wands. So even if you're a dude, the tarot is universal. So the Queen of Wands is about your inner state, right? And with the Queen of Wands, for all of us, it's about your inner confidence. So it's not the king or the knight or even the page. We're dealing with the Queen of Wands. So there's a confidence that's internal, and you want to nurture that during this period. I would say in light of your 10th house transit, what can you do to really foster that sense of continuous confidence within yourself about what you're doing, about your contribution, about where you're going, right? The 10th house for you, this transit, is about climbing a mountain. How can you be the best at what you do? Competing with yourself only. How can you be your best? And can you cultivate that fire within that gives you that sense of confidence in that you can do this, that you can achieve your goals, that you're going after what you want and you're going to get to where you want to go. So just foster your inner confidence during this period. I would also say the Queen of Wands is very, very popular. This is a really great time to go out on a limb and, get dressed up and go to parties and work rooms, stuff like that. You really want to tap into that somewhat of a showy nature. The Queen of Wands does connect with the astrological sign of Leo, and they are very vivacious and they're very, very, they show up, right? So you may want to, while you're cultivating that inner confidence, definitely spend some time going out, doing things that are fun and exciting, in which you get to show off a little like the Queen of Wands. So keep that in mind. And happy new moon, Aquarius. And then last but not least, Pisces. So Pisces, this is a cool transit for you. It's a 9th house transit. It's the house of the higher mind. So as we had said when we were looking at the 3rd house, that's grade school. That's the house of the lower mind. The higher mind is about college, university, law school, or deep dives into philosophical or spiritual realms. So the point of a 9th house transit is for you to grow and to expand. And how do you do that? You upgrade your beliefs. So this is a really great time for you to understand more of the world. Travel is associated with the 9th house, and it also at one point was about education, because travel teaches us about other people. It gives us more tolerance, and it can also help us upgrade our beliefs. So do whatever you can to expand your mind. Maybe this is reading a new book or diving into a new subject or taking a trip to a foreign land. Likewise, the 9th house is all about expansion and growth, going far and wide. So this is a great time to share yourself with the world. You might want to publish something. You might want to start a new publishing project or a broadcast project. Definitely share yourself, because when you're sharing yourself, you're expanding and extending yourself across the universe. And that is the point of this. You want to expand and grow, not retract and shrink. Expand and grow, no retraction, no shrinking. And publishing and broadcasting is going to help you expand and grow. And broaden your horizons. Do whatever it is that you can to see things from a new perspective. Oh, I hadn't thought of it that way. Watch something that you haven't usually watched. Listen to music that you haven't listened to before. Do something that allows your brain to experience things in a different way. So if you're used to only watching sci-fi, maybe watch some drama. If you're listening to only punk rock, maybe listen to some oldies, etc. Do whatever you can to let your brain see things in different ways. And really, it's going to be easiest for you to expand and grow because when you're going through a 9th house transit, you're going to have itchy feet. So expansion and growth are going to provide you with a respite. Sometimes, honestly, what happens is if we want to expand and grow and we're not expanding and growing, we grow girth-wise. That's why when Jupiter is in our first house, transit Jupiter is in our first house, one of the side effects is that we can gain weight. Why? Because we want to expand, but we're afraid of showing ourselves in the world. So it's easier or safer to expand girth-wise as opposed to expanding by flowing your energy across the universe by sharing yourself with the world. So consider how you can expand and grow. Embrace learning and expand your consciousness over the next 2 weeks. So do whatever you can to see things in a different way and share. Maybe it's about teaching other people some stuff that you know, or maybe it's about learning some other stuff so you can expand your knowledge. So let's see, Pisces, what card you get for your new moon in Scorpio. Some wisdom for Pisces. Wisdom for Pisces. Page of Swords. So with the Page of Swords, the big thing with this card is to make sure that you might get into a mood. You got to get yourself out of it with the Page of Swords. Likewise, you might be in a great mood, but somebody else that you're around is not in a good mood. And they're trying to get you in a bad mood because misery likes company. So with the Page of Swords, you need to be very, very grounded and practical in your thinking. Is it practical to be in a bad mood? No. Obviously, if you're in a bad mood, you got to do something to get yourself out of it. You don't want to suppress your bad mood, but you want to flow your emotions outside of your body, let them disappear, and then carry on. But with the Page of Swords, the big advice is to not let yourself get into a bad mood and not let other people get you in a bad mood. I also would say with Page of Swords, information that might come up might be challenging to deal with. Page of Swords isn't really great news, but again, it could just be that on the surface, it doesn't look great, especially with that opposition this new moon. So I would, again, whatever happens or whatever news you get, there is a way to leverage that. It's all a mental trick. So think about how you can get your mind in a good spot in which you're labeling everything good. This happened? Good. I can leverage this. This happened? Okay, well, there's an opportunity here. Where's the silver lining? So just make sure you're very much in charge of your mind and don't let anybody piss on your parade. Okay, so enjoy your new moon, Pisces. And there we have it. Thank you all so much for joining me, especially live, but also on the replay. I do appreciate it. Be sure to check out your written horoscopes for this lunation. The link to that is in the description below. And we have This Week Astrology tomorrow. We do this every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, in which we go over the aspects of the week. So join me for that on Friday, tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. East. The link to that is in the description below. You can set a reminder for yourself if you want. And of course, if you are looking for a reading or any of my other services, psychicsun.com. The link to that is also in the description below. So have a wonderful new moon in Scorpio. This is going to be really exciting. My pleasure, not the expert. Nice to see you, Danny. So take good care, everybody. Have a wonderful new moon.